All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Mr. Sadler coming to you live from the internet on Monday, September the 22nd, 2014. Once again, to the supply teacher, please remember that there's no headphones, nothing like that during today's lesson. If you see people's phones, feel free to confiscate them. I want you guys in the zone on this. We got a good lesson done, and then that'll be that. So we'll start today with a quick warm-up, then there'll be a choice assignment. The teacher will give you about 20 minutes to work on that, and then we'll finish with the lesson. To the teacher, please remember again, hit pause if the students say I'm going too quickly. John, Dakota, you can make sure you tell the supply teacher when that happens. And to the students, please play along. I'll be calling on you, I'll be picking on you during today's lesson, so please try to have fun with that, okay? So here's our warm-ups. There's going to be three warm-ups today. Warm-up number one is going to be this one here. Okay, solve for x1. Warm-up number two is going to be one that looks like this. 90, 70, and x. And warm-up number three is going to be something that looks like this. There's a 40 degrees. Sorry, let's try this again. There's a 140 degrees. There's 50 degrees, and there's theta. Okay, so what I want you to do for the first one is to solve for x. X over 14 is 6 over 27. The second one is a right angle triangle. I should put that in there. I want you to solve for x. And the third one is a triangle. I want you to solve for theta. So what I want the supply teacher to do for me right now is to hit pause on this video and give the class about 5 minutes to do this. If you, supply teacher, and Mrs. Vine can circle the class to make sure that everyone is in the zone, that would be great. And then in about 5 minutes, we'll take up the solution here right now. All right, I'm going to start with Matt. Matt, we're going to do some cross multiplying here. Can you give me the first line for this? Go ahead, please. Very good. 27x is 6 times 14. Great. Fabulous, wonderful, tremendous, even. Connor, can you tell me what 6 times 14 is, please? 84, good. 27x equals 84, great. Charity, can you give me the next step, please, to solve for x? Great, divide by 27. That should be 3.1. It's 3.1111. On your assignment today, I'm just going to get you around to one decimal place. So that's going to be 3.1 because the number after the 1 is smaller than 5. Okay, great. All right, Shelby, you're up next. We have a right triangle. Can you please recite from memory Pythagorean theorem, please? Go ahead. Okay, good. A squared equals b squared plus c squared, or some variation of that. Shelby, you're not done. Which one of those three sides is the hypotenuse, please? Good, the 90, good. So with that information, 90 is the hypotenuse, so that's going to go on the left-hand side. I'm going to write 90 squared. Matt, can you tell me what to write for the other two? Now, since this is through the internet, I don't know if he said x squared plus 70 squared or 70 squared plus x squared, but it does not matter, okay? Whether it's one way or the other, we'll still get the same answer. All right, Dakota, can you do 90 times 90 on your calculator, please? All right, good, 8100. And can you also, Dakota, do 70 times 70 on your calculator? Okay, good, 4900. All right, Lydia, what is the next step to solve for x? Good, so 8100 minus 4900 is equal to x squared. Great. All right, Nick, what's 8100 minus 4900? 3200, great. All right, Brandon at the back, how do you solve for x now? good. Square root of 3200. And if you can do that to one decimal place for me, it's 56.568 dot dot dot. I'm going to round up to 56.6. Okay, because the number after the 5 is bigger than 5, so we'll round up. All right, great. Okay, Jessica, you got the tricky question here to end up with. Okay, by the way, supply teacher, if you need to hit pause now, you probably will. Please do so the kids can get that down. Okay, all 3 of these questions will be fair game for your choice assignment today, so it's good to know how to do all of them. Okay, Jessica, you got the trickiest problem of all. We have to find what this triangle is going to be. All right, now you cannot directly solve that. But what I'm going to ask you, Jessica, to do is to find this angle first, even though we didn't need to. Okay? The reason we're going to need that, Jessica, is that once you have that beta, you can use the fact that 3 angles add up to 180 to get theta. So, Jessica, with that said, how do you get what beta is? Very good. Okay, so she remembered, excellent. She remembered that a straight line is 180 degrees. Okay, so you're just going to subtract 140. Caleb, now, since this is 40, I'm going to write this in here. How do I get what theta equals? Okay, good. Remember, triangle also adds up to 180. So theta should be 90 degrees. Now I know what you're thinking to yourself. You're saying, Mr. Sadler, that is not a right angle triangle, and that's correct. If you remember what I said before, I cannot draw a triangle to save my life. Okay, so yeah. All right, so what I'm going to ask the supply teacher to do right now is to hand out a copy of the choice assignment. Everyone should have one. If you're done in class, that's fine. If you're not done in class, that's, going to be homework tonight. The supply teacher is going to give 20 minutes to do this, and you can leave this screen up on the board so that the kids can see to refer, but with this information, you should have lots of time to finish this, okay? And if Mrs. Ladd and the supply teacher don't mind circling around and giving pointers, that would be wonderful. Then we're going to move on to our lesson. Okay, so I'm going to give you a second to hit pause. Now unpausing, and we'll start our lesson. Our lesson today is going to be on similar triangles. We're going to say 2 triangles are similar. When they have the same shape. Which really means angles. Okay, the example I think of similar triangles is when I was a kid, my dad bought me like miniature cars. So what they would be was they would be like 1/100th of the size of the regular car. So I would get like a Lamborghini. Okay, and I have to glue all the little tiny pieces together, and it'd be a miniature car, maybe like the size of a calculator. That's about the size, or maybe a little bigger than that. Okay, but the idea was a replica model. There's just a mini version of the real car. Okay, and manufacturers of all sorts of things make miniature versions of them before they're actually able to solve. And for this, making smaller versions of triangles and bigger versions of triangles is a big part of trigonometry. Okay, and all that stuff. So the way we're going to solve this, we'll do a few questions today, and then we will give you guys some time to work at the end of the period. So example 1 is going to say, solve for x and y. Let's start with solve for x and y. Okay, so here's my 2 triangles. There's my first triangle. I'm going to call that 5xy. And there's my bigger triangle. I'm going to call that 11, 23, and 30. Okay, so take a second and scribble that down. If the teacher needs to hit pause, please do so right now. And we'll take it up. The way you solve these questions is we're just going to write the equation simply enough, big over little. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for a volunteer named, who's going to be? Bryce, can you pick your favorite side on the left-hand side? Now we'll see how good of a mind reader I am. I think Bryce is going to like X the best on the left. Oops. Okay. So what he's going to do is he's going to put an X in the denominator, right? Because on the little side is going to be X. Now this is the part that we have to be able to get down. If you can do this, this will be easy. Michael, for this side X on this triangle, what is the corresponding side on the larger triangle? Very good, it's going to be 23. Okay, so you're going to write 23 on the big triangle is the same as X on the little triangle. I'm going to do the same thing again here. I'm going to say 5 on the little triangle. So 5 on the little triangle, Jake, is going to be what on the big triangle? Pretty good, 11. Finally, I'm going to do Y. Okay, so Y on the little triangle, John, is going to be what on the big triangle? Okay, good, 30. Okay, so what I just did there, and maybe some of the grade 11s here can help out with this if this is confusing to the class, all right? So what I did was I just picked all the sides of the big triangle I put in the numerator, and the corresponding sides on the little triangle I put in the denominator. Okay? Now, this is the scary part, okay, because there are two sets of equal signs we don't like at Thomas. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to use this as one set, and solve an equation like that, and then I'm going to use this as the second set. So I'm just going to draw a little line down my page like this. I'm going to write here 23 over x equals 11 over 5. And then I'm going to write 11 over 5 equals 30 over 1. So what I did is I used the side that had the numbers twice. Okay, so I used it to solve the x and the y. All right, Thomas, you're up. Can you please show off your cross-multiplying skills for me, please? So, oops, I dropped my marker. You can't see what I'm doing here. I just lost my marker. All right, so, Thomas, enough killing time here. We're going to do this times this and this times this. So go ahead. Okay, good. 11 times x equals, excellent, 23 times 5. All right, Ashley. 11 times x is 11x. What's 23 times 5, please? Very good, 150. Nate, last step to solve for x is going to be what? And by the way, if Nate is saying, I don't know, I'm on the top line, please don't say that, Nate. Okay, supply teacher, remember, I don't know how quickly the class is going, so you may have to like hit pause every time I write something on the board, probably. I don't know how quick things are. Okay. All right, Nate, next step is going to be what? Divide by 11, excellent. Great. And calculator girl is going to be Emma. 115 divided by 11 is 10.4545. We'll call that about 10.5. Now, does that make sense for a sign? Well, let's take a look. Okay. On the top, x 11 to 23. 23 is a little bit more than double 11. So 10.5 is a little bit more than double 5. So that looks good for a sign. In the same way, 30 is almost triple 11. So y should be almost triple, a little less than triple. I'm guessing y is going to be about 14 or 14 and a half. But let's just find out. All right, let's do this again here. Brandon Adams, can you show off your cross multiplying skills on the right-hand side here, please? Go ahead. Okay, so that's 11y equals 5 times 30. And 5 times 30 is equal to 150. Great. Noah, next step to solve for y is going to be what? Great. Divide by 11. Divide by 11. Noah, you're not done yet. Can you please do 150 divided by 11 in your calculator? I'll give you the count of 5 to do it. I'm hoping Okay, you can yell it out now. Hopefully you're yelling out 13.6363 ... which is 13.6. So I was close in my 14 estimation. Okay. And that's all there's to similar triangles. We're going to do another example right now. We're going to get you guys to try the same thing, and we'll have we'll let the teacher try it out. And I'll do 2 more examples, and we're going to stop. So here's example 2. Just like this one, I want you guys to try for yourselves. If the supply teacher and Mrs. Ladd can circle around the class and see if there's any questions. We'll go from there. So example 2 also says solve for x and y. I'll draw 2 more triangles the best I can. 13x. Now we'll do this a little bit differently. This will be 18. 20 and okay, so if the supply teacher could pause right now, I'd like to give the class about 5 minutes to try this out. Okay, this will be on your next test for sure. If you don't know how to do it, look at the last example. If you still don't know how to do it, raise your hand and get the teacher or the person beside you or Mrs. Ladd to try and help. I'm going to do the same thing big over little. Okay, hit pause please, teacher, and then we will come back. All right, great, here we go. Where did I stop? I think I stopped. All right, Sydney, we're going to do big over little again. I'm going to actually move that down so it doesn't, oops, right there. All right, so Sydney, can you give me your favorite side on the big? Okay, great, that sounds good to me. 23. Now, if she didn't choose 23, that's fine. You can interchange these any way you want. Okay, Sydney, if I choose 23 for my big, what's the corresponding little side? Good, X. Right. Next, I'm going to write 20 as my next big side. And Nick, what's the corresponding side to 20, please? On the little, 13, good. And I'll just draw these again if you didn't know where those came from. Okay, 23 on the big is X on the little. Okay. In the same way, 20 on the big is 13 on the little. And finally, I hope you know where I'm going with this. I'm going to start with Y on the big. All right, Lydia, that's going to be 18 on the little. Good. Okay, if there's any questions, please hit pause on the video, teacher, and ask them right now. We should be okay on the setup here, I hope. Okay, good. Then what we're going to do is the same thing we did before. I'm going to use these 2. You have to use the 20 and the 13 because those are the 2 numbers that are both integers. Okay, and I'm going to split this right down the middle, sort of like this. Okay. All right, who are we up to? Who's sitting there now? Mac, maybe? I'm going to say Mac. Mac, can you show off your cross multiply? I'll rewrite here 23 over x is 20 over 13. Mac, can you show your cross multiplying skills, please? Okay, so it's going to be 20x times, or 20x is 23 times 13. Good. Dakota, could you do 23 times 13, please? 299, great. Shelby, next step to solve for x is? Wonderful, divide by 20. And Charity, do you have an answer for that? Great, 14.95. I'm going to round to 1 decimal, that would be 15.0. The reason you round up is because the 5 tells you to go higher. Okay, great. Okay, we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side here right now. All right. Connor, I'm going to start by writing 20 over 13 equals y over 18. Now, Connor, I want you to be brave and try and do your cross multiplying. 13 times y is 13y. And the other one's going to be 20 times 18. 13y equals 360. All right, Matt, next step's going to be divide by 13 and divide by 13. Matt, can you give me the answer, please? .692.3 dot dot dot. When you round, the 9 is going to carry up to a 7, so y equals 27.7. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to do one final question, then we'll give you guys some time to do some work. Okay, here we go. Here's example 3. If price supply teacher prior to hit pause so that Dakota and John and others can copy it down. If there are people, Thomas, who are not taking notes, I'm going to strongly encourage you to. If there are people, Thomas, who are on their phones right now, I'd ask to confiscate their phones or ask the vice principal to do so. Please do not be on your phones. Get through this video first. Then at the end of the class, you may work with your phones at that time. Here comes example 3. This will be our final example of the day. And I want you to please put a star and a heart beside this question because this is a good question. Also remember what a star means is that you'll probably see it on the test. So this one's just going to be simply enough to say solve for x. Okay. So there's going to be a nice triangle. Can anyone recall what those, it's not really a nice triangle, that's the best I can do. Can anyone recall what those two little chevrons mean? Very good, they're parallel, okay? So we're going to, this triangle is just going to go like this. We have an x, a 4, a 5, and a 6. Now you might say, Mr. Sadler, this looks way too easy for me. I'm a good math student, I can do this. There is one trick though. We're going to have to make two triangles out of this. Okay? So we're going to make a little triangle and a big triangle. My little triangle is just simply enough going to go 6 and x. Now I want somebody to be brave and to tell me what the big triangle is going to be. Somebody who has broad shoulders, and it's okay if they're wrong. All right, Caleb Cass, I'm picking on you. What's this whole entire left side going to be? Okay, good, that's going to be 11. All right. Now, here's the tricky part. What's that whole right-hand side going to be? X plus 4. The reason it's x plus 4 is this little top half here is going to be x, and this part here is going to be 4. If you put them together, that's x plus 4. Now let's get to the cross multiplying part. We're still going to do big over little. Okay, we always do big over little. But this algebra is a slight bit more difficult. Okay, I'm going to call it the big triangle. My favorite side here is going to be 11. What is corresponding to 11 on the little triangle? You're up to my way. John. 11 on this triangle is the same as 6 on the other triangle. All right, Thomas, the big triangle. I'm going to look at the other side that we have left is x plus 4. And corresponding to that's going to be x. Now you may have noticed on your choice assignment there was a question that looks sort of like this. There's a reason for that. This is sort of important. The hint I'm going to tell you right now is to write your equation like this. Okay, because the entire thing is going to get multiplied in a sec. Jake, can you show off your cross multiplying to the class, please? Okay, so it's going to be 11x equals 6 bracket x plus 4. Okay, the 6 is multiplied by the entire x plus 4. Michael, can you please show off your expanding skills? What is 6 times x plus 4, please? Very good. 6x plus 24. Where that came from was 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 4 is 24. Please remember, if the supply teacher is going too quickly, hit pause and stop. If Mrs. Ladd or the supply teacher wants to add anything, please feel free to. All right, Bryce, I want to solve for x here. What do I need to get rid of from the right-hand side? Okay, good, 6x. How do you get rid of 6x? Move it across, good. The way you do that is you change that to a minus 6x. That's equal to 24. That's 5x equals 24. Caleb, last step here is going to be what? X equals 4.8. Okay. All right? Okay. Your homework tonight is going to be, and I'll check this out tomorrow, it's going to be page 25, number 26. I lost my picture. The computer died on me. Homework is going to be page 25, number 2 to 5. Okay, thanks for playing along, class. Thank you to the supply teacher for your good work today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? All right, adios.